boss. You stood up a whole AI agent platform. How many times did you open the admin dashboard?
Not once, rookie. 0 clicks, the skills, the agents, the place they run. I built all of it by talking to Claude and running commands. I never even opened the console in a browser. Today I'll walk every step in real commands. The dashboard never shows up, not once.
Okay, back up. What even is an agent platform? The name's doing a lot of work.
Sounds big, but it's simple. It's a box where you make several AI agents, hand each one a job and let them run. A researcher, a writer, a checker, a few of them passing work down the line. That's the thing.
And usually that kind of service means opening a browser, clicking through a console, filling in forms, right?
That's the twist today. On this platform, every setting is reachable from the command line. So I talked to Claude Code, and Claude runs a CLI called _Multica behind the scenes. I don't open the dashboard. I don't need to.
So you swapped the whole GUI workflow for a conversation.
Right. And you don't need to know the specific product. What I want you to take home is the first-hand part. A whole crew of agents can be built with conversation and a CLI, no GUI. And I'll show it using the exact steps I used to stand up this channel's own production setup.
But why is not opening a screen such a win? A button sounds easier.
Easier the first time, only the first time. A GUI is quick to build one thing. But the moment it's do that again, 5 at once, yesterday's version but a little different, the clicking turns into a slog. With a command you edit one line and paste, and in a conversation Claude even writes that line.
So it's strong on repeats, not one and done.
That's the heart of it. Picture the same crew of 5, but you want to swap every one of them onto a different model. In a GUI, that's 5 agents, opened one at a time, the same drop-down clicked 5 times. As a command, it's one line changed once, run 5 times. And when it's a conversation, you just say, move the whole crew to the other model, and Claude writes those 5 lines for you.
The bigger the setup, the more the clicking hurts.
And a platform isn't built once. You rebuild it constantly, tweak a role, add an agent, retire one. So a cheap-to-rebuild door-in isn't a nicety, it's where the value hides.
Okay, first step, show me from install.
Onboarding's quick. Authenticate the CLI, start a local runtime, 2 lines. Setup, connects you. Daemon start, wakes the runtime. Here's the first thing that's different. This runtime isn't someone's server in the cloud, it's the machine right in front of me.
Your own computer becomes the place the agents run?
It does. Run daemon status and you'll see this machine is the one that's online. Location. This machine, that's the seed I'm planting. Most agents out there run on some server far away. Ours runs right here. That one line difference pays off in the back half for now, just okay.
Where it runs isn't somewhere far, it's this desk, noted.
Right. And ready to claim on that last line means the runtime's just sitting there waiting to pick up work. No server to rent, nothing spun up in a data center. Just this machine, idle and ready. Hold the feeling that the place is yours. The view changes later.
Before we give the agents any substance, do I rewrite my skills from scratch? That sounds like the tedious part.
That's the second point. You don't rewrite. The skills you already have you carry straight over. Skill import takes them from a local skill file or from a public URL. I did the first. Grabbed the skills I already had and dropped them in as archives. Switching cost was basically 0.
Wait, what if the names collide? If the same skill's already there?
Good worry. You decide with on conflict overwrite rename or skip The default is fail so it won't quietly break anything. It's built not to have accidents.
So you don't have to throw away what you already made.
That's the big one. And you can check what landed with a list.
They're all sitting there, ready? And what's the world without this? Where migration doesn't exist?
Picture that, and the value shows up. No migration means rewriting every skill each time you move, the instructions, the tool wiring, all of it. 3 skills, rewrite 3. 10, rewrite 10. That's what switching cost really is, and it's where most people just stop.
Oh, the too annoying to rebuild so you never move trap?
Right. So that one import line is dull, but it earns its keep. A skill is really a bundle of instructions and tools you hand an agent. The hard part was writing it well the first time. Carrying it means that work moves with you instead of dying at the door. If you had to rewrite it every time, nobody migrates. Because it comes over as is, moving is finally worth it.
Okay, the main event, the agent itself. Surely that's a new button in the console?
That button stays unpressed today. An agent grows from a single command too. Agent create a name, the runtime it runs on, a model, and the instructions that spell out its role. That last flag is the whole personality. Research, return only the key points, always cite, that's one agent, done. The fields you'd click through in a GUI form are just flags now, and because they're text, I can diff 2 agents, copy one to make the next, keep them in a file. Try doing that with a form.
And the skills you migrated, how do they get attached?
A separate command bolts them on. Agent skills adds them without disturbing what's already assigned.
Oh, the skills I imported earlier, they join up right here.
They connect, and here's the thing, I didn't even type these commands. Watch the actual handoff. Follow it left to right. I speak the intent, make me a researcher, give it those skills sources required. Claude turns that into the real commands and runs them. I never spelled a flag or an order. Filling a form became saying what I mean.
I talk, Claude runs the CLI, and agent appears. No GUI anywhere.
Not once. That's the backbone of today. The work of pressing buttons swapped wholesale for the work of saying what you want.
But boss, honestly, why bother running it on your own machine? Isn't handing it to the cloud easier?
That's the third point and the real target. Because the runtime's local, the agent can touch what's right here on my machine. An agent running in some distant cloud lives in a sealed box. It can't see my local files and its tools need rewiring. A local runtime, and the agent runs inside the environment I already work in. My repos, the CLIS I use every day, all of it's in range.
Concretely, how's it different? Same, go fix this file.
Here's an example. Say I ask, fix the bug in this repo and open a PR in a cloud box that repo doesn't exist yet. I'd have to upload the code or set up a connection first. Locally, the agent can already see the folder I've got open. No upload, no sync. It touches what's here right now.
Stuff being visible from the start, quietly a big deal.
A whole prep step just vanishes. Upload, wait, grant access, point the agent at it. Gone, every one of them. And it's not once. It's every task, every day. The small step you delete 100 times is worth more than the flashy feature you use twice.
Is MCP the thing that shows up here?
It does. MCP is a standard socket for wiring tools to a model. When you make an agent, you hand it the MCP config as is. So a calendar, an internal API, any tool you've got becomes the agent's hands.
Does having tools versus not really matter that much?
Night and day. An agent with no tools talks smart but can't do anything. Ask it to check my schedule, and if it can't reach the calendar, it just hands back something that sounds right. Hand it the calendar over MCP and the same agent reads a real schedule and writes a real event. It goes from something that talks to something that acts.
Give it hands, and only then is it work.
Exactly. And those hands are the same ones I use every day, nothing to set up fresh.
So where does the flat rate plan come in?
Right here. Running local means I reach the model through the flat rate coding plan I'm already on. Instead of a separate metered counter ticking per token, it runs inside the plan I use anyway. The tools and the bill both sit on top of my normal setup.
But wait, doesn't every platform bill you per token anyway?
A lot do, and that's the part that bites quietly. A metered counter is invisible right up until the month it isn't. An agent loops a few extra times overnight, and the bill's a surprise. On a flat plan I already pay for, that whole anxiety's just gone. The agent runs, and there's no second meter deciding whether I can afford to let it think.
Because it runs in your own environment, the tools and the billing stay the usual.
That's the real payoff. Nothing flashy. Your files are already there, your tools are already wired, your plan already covers it. 3 already yes, and every one of them is a step you didn't have to take. It's the kind of win that pays every single day.
When it's this much upside, I actually brace myself. Where's the catch?
Right instinct. There is one. First, no GUI means if you're shaky in a terminal, the on-ramp is that much steeper. There's no comfort of a button.
Yeah, fair. There's no map on the wall. It's all commands you have to know to ask for.
And letting a conversation drive the CLI means I need to be able to asterisk read the commands Claude assembles. Hand it everything on just handle it, and it'll call the wrong thing or do more than you meant.
Like what kind of accident?
The classic is deletes. Say clean this up casually, and the model draws its own line between what's safe to delete and what isn't. Or it fires off a move that pings people no confirmation. A conversation is fast, so the dangerous move is fast too. So for us, the moves you can't take back, delete, send, publish. A human looks before they run. We keep the human gate.
The faster the conversation, the more I owe myself a check.
That's the trade. And we've walked this road before. Our scripts and our video builds are automated too. But the last step out the door a human always looks, only confirm the irreversible moves is the same idea. You don't second-guess everything. Just the spots there's no taking it back, you stop your hand there.
Let the conversation carry the speed. Keep the last call for yourself.
If you can live with that, a platform stands on conversation alone, no dashboard needed. Today's point, a crew of agents stands up entirely on conversation and a CLI, no GUI, skills carry over. And run it locally, and your tools and your bill stay on your usual setup. The dashboard never needed it, start to finish.
When the place it runs is your own environment, the whole view changes.
It does. And notice what carried all of it. Not a mouse, not a form, just intent, spoken, and a CLI that could hear it. That's the shift worth keeping. So far, this is the standing it up story. What we built today is, call it, an empty workshop and a few craftspeople holding tools. Nobody's done any work yet. In part 2, I put this crew to work passing a job down the line. One researches, the next writes, the last one checks. Built isn't a platform, running it is. That's what I'll show.
Part 1, stand it up. Part 2, run it, waiting on the next one.
Go build it. You never have to open the dashboard, conversation alone, and the platform stands. That's the one line to take home today.